Hi, and welcome to another episode of Women Empower Active, an initiative with UR Sportswear, the company, and the blog Accidental Athlete, where we talk with women who help inspire us to live active, healthy lifestyles. And today I'm going to try not to be too much of a fangirl, to be honest with you, because I'm so excited that we have Mary Maddux from Meditation Oasis with us. She's going to talk to us about meditation, and I've listened to her podcast for a number of years through meditationoasis.com. And through some of the apps that are available for your smartphone. So, I'm going to stop babbling and welcome Mary to Women in Power Active. Mary, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so happy to be here, Amy. I really, I remember meeting you through a blog post, and you talked about meditating before running and how much that enhanced the whole experience, and I was really impressed. And so when you invited me, I said yes.
And we're very excited to have you. So, let's talk a little bit about your background and tell us how you started meditating, how you got into it in the first place.
Okay, well, I was actively seeking something at the time, and I think there were two parts to that. There was partly a sense that I could be living life in a fuller way, a sense that there was something more, that I could somehow experience myself and life more deeply. So that was sort of a positive movement, looking for something. And then the other side of it was a lot of stress in my life, a lot of stress, and wanting to find something to help me relax and get perspective and find some balance. And I started a long time ago, before meditation was, and a lot of people didn't even know what it was, or they thought it was something really weird and really woo-woo. And so I was lucky enough that my brother had started meditation, and so he introduced it to me and gave me the idea. And as soon as I started, I said, this is great, and I continued.
And so as you started it, and I'm curious if when you started, did you find a comfort zone with it right away, or did you have some obstacles that maybe you had to overcome as you started meditating?
It wasn't so hard to meditate. I mean, I started, and I pretty much from the beginning would experience what I call a meditative state, or what is called a meditative state, and I'll talk about that. And that was wonderful. I think right away I recognized, oh, this is just a natural thing. In fact, it seemed familiar, like maybe I'd felt that feeling before. But there was an obstacle in me, in that I kept feeling like, oh, maybe I'm doing it wrong, and I had this idea that I shouldn't be having a lot of thoughts, and thoughts were there, and sometimes the meditation would feel really good, and I'd want to hang on to that, and then sometimes maybe there'd be thoughts and emotions, and I'd feel not so good, and I'd think, oh, this isn't right, this isn't supposed to be happening, and then there'd be a tension inside of me, and but I had really good guidance and relaxed into that, and came to realize that that's all a part of meditation. Whatever happens in your meditation is part of meditation. It's part of the process, and relaxing with what's happening within you and what's happening in life is what it's all about. So there was something I had to learn there. But to actually learn to meditate doesn't have to be hard at all.
You mentioned some points that I want to talk about in a little bit, but first let's just kind of go back. You mentioned the meditative state. Could you go through maybe what we hear the word meditation a lot, what meditation means, maybe some of the different forms in which people can meditate, and the differences between maybe guided meditation, mantra meditation, and some of the other avenues that are out there?
Okay. There are many, many, many avenues out there. So, you can type in what is meditation and go to a bunch of different websites, and you'll get different definitions of what it is. And there are a lot of different practices. I mean, meditation essentially has to do with how you direct your attention. And So, when I say what meditation is, it might not be exactly the same thing that it means to somebody else, and practices are very, very different. So I wanted to say something about the meditative state because what I'm interested in is people being able to have that experience. So as a runner, or anybody who's an athlete, or does any kind of sport or dancing, I do hula dance, there are those times when you're just in the zone. There's, you're not divided in yourself. There's not like something going on with your mind and something going on with your body and any kind of wondering or conflict. It's just happening, and that's essentially the meditative state. If you look at a sunset and, it just takes your breath away and just your mind stops and you're just at one with the beauty, that's the meditative state. And it's something that's just natural to the mind and can come about in many different ways, not just through meditation. So there are meditations that are geared to help people to realize that, experience that. And there are other meditations that aren't so much geared to make that happen. So, okay.
I'm back.
You're back. You went away.
I'm back. I went away. I came back. Technical difficulties happen.
Amy's back. I mean, yeah, you're back. I don't think I went away, so I kept on talking.
You kept on talking, yes.
That was a good thing.
That was a good thing.
Okay, good.
So,
good to see you back again. You just went into the meditative state.
I did. Now, see, we were talking about the meditative state, and I went into it. Yes.
You were in the zone. Just a suggestion. So there are mantra meditations where you take a sound or a word and focus the mind on that. And the thing with mantra meditation, it's not just about having a mantra, but how do you use that mantra? Are you trying to concentrate and keep your mind on it, or is it just a reference point? And there are all kinds of ideas about what a mantra does. And so even to talk about mantra meditation, you can't just talk about one thing. To talk about mindfulness, you're going to get different angles on it. Certain very traditional schools of mindfulness, and then more teachers now who kind of put their own spin. There are moving meditations like Tai Chi, meditations that help you to have that experience in the way that you direct your attention with movement. There's contemplation. Some people do contemplative style meditation. So I remember attending a group once that somebody led, and they read a kind of inspiring, thought-provoking passage from something, I can't remember what, and the idea was just to kind of close your eyes and just see how that reverberates on you and think about that and contemplate that. And then there are meditations that involve a lot of concentration, kind of learning to train the mind to stay focused. And they're not my favorite kind of meditation. You could spend hours talking about different kinds of meditations. What I've found is that many different teachers and many different approaches often come upon and discover the same principles. So I've created guided meditations for a long time, and then I'll hear another meditation and I'll say, oh, that's really interesting, they're doing the same thing I do, or the same idea. And it's not, that they heard me, I heard them. We're discovering the same thing, because meditation is a natural ability of the mind. It's simply an ability. You can be awake, you can sleep, and then you can meditate. It's just within the range of experiences or ways of being. states of being. So finally, guided meditation, since that's what I use the most to help people to have the experience of meditation. There are many, many, many kinds of guided meditation and approaches to that. And they can be very simple, to simply helping you relax, to some kind of more complicated journey, a meditation with a focus, like enhancing creativity, developing intuition, healing, grieving, all kinds of things. They can involve visualization or not involve visualization. There's guided imagery. That's a whole big field in and of itself. But I personally feel that the easiest way to learn meditation is with some kind of guidance, and that reading a book and trying to do something is usually not going to be as effective as having you sitting there just passively and receptive, probably with your eyes closed, and being guided, I feel is the easiest, most direct way.
And I know there's all different, ways you can be sitting and lying down. I mean, someone who's starting out, who wants to try this, and who may be, especially for talking to a lot of people who are athletes, they can be very focused and be like, I can't settle my mind. I have trouble sitting still. So if they're going to start, is there certain things that are helpful to get yourself ready for meditation?
I think the best thing is to know from the start that you're entering into a process. You're entering into a relationship with yourself, a relationship with life, and whatever happens is just perfect. Even if you start out by trying a practice that doesn't work for you, that's perfect. That is, you take a step, and then the next step, and the next step. So, don't take it too seriously. And as far as sitting and posture, I would recommend just being natural. Just sit comfortably. You can do some meditations lying down, some sitting up, and sitting fairly upright is useful to staying alert and helping the mind to get into the meditative state. But you want to be comfortable. You want to be so that you can relax, and so that you're not trying to hold a posture that's distracting you and making it hard for you. You, I think, had a lot of components to that question, and I don't know if I hit upon all of everything you wanted to.
Yeah, you did. You
Okay.
did. Just kind of like that basic how to set yourself up for that. We have a question that came in from social media, and they asked about the meditative state, and they asked, is being in the meditative state like the notion of quote, being in the flow?
It's very much like that, because it's a state of no resistance. You're just in the flow of your experience, and you're not resisting it. You're not trying to manipulate it or change it. You simply are present and open to what is. And so it's very much that's what it is, being in the flow.
And so there are times when I meditate, and I will try, I come to it, and I'm ready, and I will just start making my grocery list, or I'll start thinking about the workout that I have to do. And can you speak to that? Because I think that people sometimes feel there's a right and wrong way, and if that's happening, I must be doing it wrong.
Yeah, so absolutely you're not doing it wrong, and there's not, just consider that there's not a right or wrong way. Approaching it, you could say, well, the wrong way to approach it is to approach it with the expectation that meditation is going to happen like this. Letting go of expectations, maybe that would be a right way. There's not much that's a right way. And then once you sit to meditate, whatever happens in the experience is right is a part of your process with meditation. And sometimes you're going to sit to meditate, and it's just that your mind is more busy or your physiology is more stimulated, activated, depending on what you were doing before, depending on what your hormones are doing that day, what's going on in your life. And so your mind may be a lot more active. But simply by taking that time where you're not actively pursuing all of those thoughts, you're not literally writing your grocery list, just taking that time, it's like unwinding. If you wind something up and then you let it go, there'll be a lot of activity while it's unwinding. So same in meditation, there can just be a lot of thoughts because there's an unwinding going on. And as long as you simply are present to it and don't resist it, then it'll just go on. Other times you'll sit to meditate and it'll just be you'll be very calm, centered more. It'll feel more pleasing, but it's not more right. And that's very much in line with what I had to get in the beginning. And it's a great thing to get because that sets you up for life. Life is gonna, bring all kinds of experiences, and then just, relaxing into that.
And it's not necessarily, I think that a lot of times we like to think that everything is this linear process, and I'm going to just keep getting better and better, and sometimes, though, it's not going to do that.
No, and nothing ever does that. That just is not how life works. And that's not how your meditation is going to go. And, when you let go of the expectation of that linear thing, or even trying to somehow calibrate and judge progress, that's another thing to let go of. The most, if you want to judge your meditation, judge how it's affecting your activity and not the experience of meditation itself.
That's okay. That's very profound. Judge how it's affecting the activity, not the actual experience of meditating itself.
Yes. And sometimes people want to meditate because they want to have an experience, or maybe once they had a kind of flashy experience and they want that again. And then that can be incredibly painful because it's just going to be different every time. You may never have that experience again, or you might, so you're just setting yourself up for frustration and failure, a feeling of failure. So just count it all as part of your experience, your journey with meditation, your journey with yourself. Yeah, and above all, if you're going to judge, just, is this benefiting me in my activity?
That's great. And so, speaking of an activity, we're going to talk about, I have a question about sleep, which is an activity.
Oh, yes.
And I know that we were talking earlier, the Meditation Oasis brand actually has an app, an iSleep app, specifically with guided meditations for sleep. But the question is, what would be the number one thing you recommend to quiet the mind for better sleep?
Well, there are a lot of things that you can do. Yes, you can do there are meditations that are suitable for before sleep. That's the kind of thing we have in our iSleep Easy app, or there are a lot of them out there. But things, how I mentioned that when you sit to meditate, if you've been just very, very involved in a lot of mental activity or something very stimulating, then you're going to sit down and things are going to be unwinding. Well, the same thing happens when you lie down to go to sleep. So it's great to structure your evening so that you have quiet, relaxing activities, especially as you get closer to bedtime. So turn off don't be doing your taxes. Don't be doing work on your computer. I've been disciplining myself to just, okay, no, I'm not going to check any of my emails on my iPhone, for X amount of time before bed. Let yourself start unwinding before you get into bed so that you're not lying there with this unwinding going on. And there are a lot of things: taking a hot bath, drinking some warm milk, anything that relaxes you. There's actually a really cool thing now, I noticed on my iPhone with the latest update, where you can get the screen to not have to change the lighting. It changes the lighting of the screen, and I can't tell you the scientific basis of this, but apparently by changing the lighting of the screen, you're not stimulating your brain in the same way. And so there's a recognition that looking at a computer screen or certain kinds of screens can stimulate your brain, and that could keep you more awake when you go to bed. So yeah.
So a lot of it is really about trying to at least give yourself some wind down time before you get into bed.
That's the main thing, and then there are just lots of little tips. Like on our app, and I'm sure there are other resources where you can read a lot of tips. The temperature in your bedroom, the not doing anything but relaxing activities in your bedroom, so your mind doesn't create an association with something stimulating or something that gets your mental activity going. I mean, there are a lot of things. There are a lot of different things, but I don't want to spend too much of the interview with all those tips. You can read them online or get our app. Or
I do. This is not a pet, but I do really. The app is very good, so I would check out the app. The I Sleep Easy app has some really good stuff on it. So we were talking about maybe the meditation before sleep, which makes me wonder if you meditate in the morning or if you meditate in the evening or if you're meditating before bed. Are there different energies or ways that you do based on the time of day or the activity that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, and I think the best way. I mean, in the morning, you. Okay, at bedtime, you don't want a meditation that's going to energize you or make you feel more alert. And what those meditations will be for you may not be the same as what they'd be for me or somebody else. And so you kind of have to see what your experience is with that. But definitely be aware that some meditations will be more suitable for the morning, when you want to be alert and you're waking up, and different meditations. Certainly before bedtime, you'd only want something that's very relaxing. It helps you to let go, and I wouldn't do one that had me focusing on what's my next creative project. I wouldn't do a guided meditation that has me focusing on what's my next creative project and get my mind going on that. So there is a difference, and I think you need to see how different kinds of meditation or different guided meditations affect you, and make a judgment about that. Certainly, obviously, if somebody has recorded a sleep meditation, then they think that that's suitable for most people for sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It does make a difference.
That is, yeah, you would not want to have something that's going to get your creative juices flowing right before you go to sleep. So
that's one thing you don't want. No.
And if you're, do you have suggestions on? I know that you do general guided meditations and you do them on topics, but for people who are runners or doing a race or an activity, do you have suggestions how to maybe incorporate that into, before a race or before an event, how meditation they might be able to use it or have them help them?
Anything that helps to clear your mind helps you to relax. You know, if you are relaxed, your muscles are going to respond better. Your blood flow is going to be better, you know, to your muscles, to your organs. Your breathing is going to be better. So if you do a meditation that's deeply relaxing, that's going to put your body, it's kind of like if you have a good night's sleep, your whole day goes better. So if you can enter into a race or any activity, or you're just adjust your practice in a relaxed, centered state, then your performance and your enjoyment of it is going to be better. Then, and this is not something that I have expertise in, but I know that many athletes use visualization. And so I think they're very specific programs, or maybe people that can train you in that, but that visualizing yourself making the basket, visualizing yourself running effortlessly and fast, that actually can affect your physical performance. It's that mind-body connection. So there's a whole specialty there for athletes. And a lot of people use that kind of thing.
We have another question in from social media, and they're asking, is it better for beginners to join in group meditation? And I know you have a meditation group that you work with. Maybe you could explain a little bit about group meditation and the benefits of joining a meditation group.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, there are a lot of benefits for that, benefits from that. One is that when you have a group of people meditating, and I don't think there's any, I can't give you an explanation for why, but it tends to enhance your own practice. I think actually that kind of makes sense when you think about how different do you feel if you walk into a really busy, noisy environment compared to you walk into some very settled, quiet place. You know, you walk into your meditation studio or whatever, you know, the atmosphere around you, and then there's just something that happens, some kind of synergy between people when they're meditating together. So it can really reinforce you just on the experiential level. It also can give you that support of a community. You keep going, you've got this connection with people, you reinforce each other, you support each other, you encourage each other. I mean, groups are always good for that kind of thing. So I would definitely encourage that. And I'm going to put in a plug for an app that isn't my app, although I have some meditation on it. It's called Insight Timer. And it has... You can just time your meditation using the app if you want to, but you can also listen to a whole host of guided meditations. And you can, if you want to use the social feature, be connected with this huge community of meditators. So if you do a meditation using that app, at the end it'll say, you just meditated with 679 people. And, you know, I've talked to a couple of people who have found that very reinforcing. So I'm just mentioning that because I think hearing from those people, I've realized how much having a group connection has supported them in meditation.
That's great. And you know, you mentioned that, you know, that support, and it was a question about beginners. What's your advice for beginners? People who are, we talked a little bit about that at the beginning, but if you're just starting out, you really want to try it. Maybe you tried it once and you were making shopping lists and you thought you weren't doing it right, so you wanted to you want to try it again. What are maybe some of the key things that you would tell someone who is starting for the first time?
Okay. I don't know. This should be easy, but if you can find, I'm going to take a sip of water because, as I told you, it's allergy season where I am, and
go right ahead.
And my throat has to keep up with my mouth. So I would first of all suggest that you either find a way of being taught in person where you can have some guidance, or I would suggest starting with a guided meditation. It's so easy. It's so easy. You just turn it on, get comfortable, turn it on, and be guided. And if the first teacher that you find, either in person or first meditation you listen to, just doesn't seem right to you, then try another one. There's so many available. I just think that that's the easiest, simplest way. I think reading a book, I would not get too involved in a lot of concepts. I like to keep it, experiential. You're interested. Give some thought. It may help to give some thought to what do I want from meditation? What am I hoping to gain? What do I want to feel? Why do I want to do it? And that just thinking about that can help you to recognize what will be the right thing for you. Don't assume that the first teacher you meet or the first guided meditation you listen to is right. There's no one best teacher or best meditation style for everybody. There's finding what works for you. You can certainly try one of the over 50 free guided meditations on our Meditation Oasis podcast. That's a place to start, but there are a lot of other places to start. And then, if you find you have questions, at least on our website, you can read on the website and learn a lot about the challenges you might be having in meditation and what to do. So finding some kind of guidance and a way to get your questions answered, and that can be a teacher or a system on a website or an app. It can be a lot of different things. Does that help?
It does. It does. And I think one of the things, too, we take away from talking with you is that there is no perfect meditation. There's no, if you're doing it, you're not doing it wrong.
You're never doing it wrong. You're never doing it wrong. And I'd love to say, I have the best meditation and you should listen to me, but that is just not true. I want you to find what is going to work for you. And I do want to mention, actually, if you have trouble sitting for a meditation, there are moving meditations, and one that's very simple is walking meditations. So we do have a walking meditation app. I'm sure you can find a lot of ways to be guided in that as well. Yeah, so that walking meditation can be really wonderful.
So people,
great people who really feel that they can't sit there.
That's what I said. People who are like, I cannot sit still. Well, you can still meditate because you can do a walking meditation, and that will help.
That's right. And not only that, you don't have to sit still.
You don't have to sit still.
You can let your body move. Who says you have to sit still? I mean, yes, you can go to teachers that'll, you say you have to sit still and maybe wrap you with a ruler if you if you move. My headphones wanting to leave my ears here.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Oh, I can hear you so clearly.
Hey. There we go.
So you don't have to sit still. You want to be comfortable.
Yeah, and as you said, if you get one of those teachers who you can't sit still and they want you to, there are other teachers and other methods that you can explore as well.
Yeah, if it just trust yourself. Trust yourself. You're finding yourself and your own truth.
Great. Well, Mary, I want to thank you for joining us. And hold on a second. We have another question that just came in before, because Mary's going to do a meditation with us. We're going to close with a meditation. But someone asked if you like walking meditation. I know you said you have an app. How do you, do you do it, and how do you find it?
I had always done sitting meditation. Or sometimes I'll lie down for, like a body scan type of meditation.
Mm-hmm.
But I create. This is going to sound funny, but I created these meditations for walking meditation, and I, of course, had to test them. I mean, I knew what that should be,
Mm-hmm.
and when I tested them, I fell in love with walking meditation. So yes, I like it very much. I like it very much. And I think, having gone through that process, I think if you practice walking meditation, and even when you're not listening to a meditation, it becomes habit. These things become habit. The habits that you cultivate in meditation, the ways that you handle your emotions and your thoughts, they start to affect the way you handle your life. So I've come to love walking meditation.
All right. Now, so Mary has graciously said that she would do a meditation with us, so that a guided meditation, so that we can get an idea of what that's like. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, Mary, and let you, take us through a little bit of a mini meditation here.
Okay. Well, then my one question about is, will we talk again after the meditation, or how will
When you want, yeah.
Oh, I'm just thinking I probably should bring it to an end.
Bring us in. Bring us out, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay, so we'll do a short meditation, and so you can do this lying down if you want, or sitting, and just start by getting comfortable. And you can take a deep breath and bring your attention to your body. And then I'm going to close my eyes, and I invite you to close your eyes. And just take a deep breath. In fact, take several deep breaths and notice how that feels. You can let your shoulders drop. Check in with your belly, let it soften and relax, and just naturally your breath will move into your belly. And just notice that even if your mind is still being busy and your body feels restless, or that there's some quietness there, something soothing that you can feel as you take those breaths. So breathing in the luxury of having these few minutes to simply be. And whatever is happening right now, whatever you're experiencing, it's just perfect. There's nothing you have to do to make this meditation happen. There's nothing required of you. Just be, and you're already being. You can't very well stop being. So let's take one more nice deep breath. And now just allowing the breath to go on its own. Life breathes the breath. And simply be aware of whatever you are experiencing right now in this moment. Whether you find it to be pleasant or unpleasant or a mixture, whatever it is, simply noticing that. If you find that you want to change that, let that go, letting go of any attempt to change anything. And if you find there's some resistance to some experience you're having, let that go. Not resisting, not trying to change anything. Simply being. You can scan your body and see if any place is tense, if there's any holding, and just let that go. Let those places relax. Let your jaw relax. Your forehead, just let it smooth out and relax. All the muscles around your eyes. Just like a limp rag doll. Letting go of any effort. And whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing is just perfect. Life just bubbles up in all of these experiences. And we can learn to just relax into that. Trust. And you might bring your attention to your breath and notice how it's just going on without any effort on your part. And if your mind gets caught up in a thought, as soon as you notice it, just naturally, you can let it go. Easy, open awareness. And you might notice that even with all the experiences that are going on, thoughts, emotions, sensations in the body, there's also some quietness, some stillness present. Everything happening in stillness. And so we'll just have a few seconds to just drop into that. Drop into that stillness. Good. Now we'll take some time to come back to our activity, back to the interview, to Amy, to saying goodbye. And you can return to a still, quiet place in yourself anytime. So maybe just stretch and move a little bit. See how your body wants to move. Take a deep breath, and when you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome. I felt sorry to end it so soon, but
And we were talking earlier too that after doing that meditation, you mentioned notice how you feel on your next activity and how it makes you
mm-hmm,
feel as your day goes on too.
mm-hmm. Just see if there isn't some little residue. And
Well,
if you have a question about it, go to meditationoasis.com and email me.
yes, meditationoasis.com is where you can find Mary Maddux, and you can email her any of your questions and find her podcast and links to the apps. And Mary, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Amy. I really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad. Thank you all out there for joining us,
Yes, thank you.
uh, and we'll see you again next time on Women in Power Active.